Hello, my name is Derek O'Neill and I'm making this short presentation to explain to you the document, little booklet that I've put together on death and dying. I know it's a subject, I shouldn't be laughing. I know it's a subject not a lot of people actually want to talk about, but it's an extremely important subject. In the booklet, which you can read in your own time and which, as I say, this presentation might help you to understand more aspects of it, if you like, that being the booklet being the technical element and this being more tutorial in nature. So the first thing to say, of course, is where did I get these teachings from? Well, I got these teachings through traveling all around Tibet and India, talking to gurus and sages, mentors, rishis, lamas, rinpoches, and specifically in the Bardo Todal teachings, I was lucky enough to be in Bodh Gaya, when Bodh Gaya is where the Buddha attained enlightenment, when the lineage holder of the Bardo Todal happened to be there teaching, and I absorbed myself in his teachings for about a week, and so this is their tradition, but as you're going to see, it's also very much in all other traditions as well. It's why I've put this together is I'm being constantly asked by people, what do I do? Or they go into a bit of panic or fear when they hear somebody is dying or somebody has died, or even about their own death. And as I say, hopefully this information will be helpful for you to understand what it's all about. So that's where I got this information from. And you can research more of it yourself if you like. What I'm giving you is my interpretation or impression of the teachings as they were given to me, and as I understand them to be. So let's start off with, as I say, the understanding that in the booklet you'll see a wheel. It's called the karmic wheel, and on that wheel you'll see the centerpiece, which has 3 parts, the middle part, which has 6 parts, and the outer rings, which is 12 rings. Again, it's explained in the booklet what they are. But interestingly enough, you will find that this same wheel was also within the Catholic religion. And so I just want you to have a look at this diagram I'm about to put up now. And in that diagram, you actually see the exact same levels of, like, there isn't just one heaven or one hell. There's many hells and many heavens and many realms where angels and ghosts and whatever hang out, okay? And so for you to understand this could be very helpful for you, especially when you're going through the trauma of death, which a lot of people would know I went through myself several times on 5 or 6 different occasions in my own life, from a couple of brothers, a couple of nieces and nephews, and my wife Linda. So, Linda and I, we spoke about this subject. Actually, Linda and I went to India and we also trained, believe it or not, trained for death. Yeah, you might think that's silly, but it's not so silly. And hopefully when you've read that leaflet and understand it, you'll understand why. So the aspects that I'd like to cover in this short video, if you like, is the understanding that when somebody passes, as I understood it, and this is not so much in the leaflet, which is why I'm talking about it now, or I'm calling it a leaflet while it's actually a book, but I kept it short and precise so that it didn't seem too burdensome for people. But so what it is in that leaflet is, it doesn't explain other stuff that I had learned, and that other stuff is, that seemingly when somebody dies, for 3 days after they pass, they actually hang around as sort of a ghost or as a consciousness or whatever, and that they can hear everything that everybody is saying, everything that everybody's doing, and that sometimes they can be in a very confused state because they don't know they're dead at that stage, seemingly. And so they're having conversations with us and we don't even know they're there, and they're getting annoyed as if all of a sudden we're ignoring them. You know, which was crazy when I heard these people talk about this aspect, and that when somebody dies, when they're in the church aspect, say when the coffin is up the front of the church, and that they may actually be rambling around listening to what people are saying, and they will react to what people are saying, like they will react to somebody who's grieving so deeply and so heavily for the loss of their loved one, that they'll hang in here and they become ghosts because they just don't want to leave, and they don't want to leave you. And then, you know, there might be somebody in the back of the church going, oh, sure, you know, Mary was an old wagon. You know, I didn't really like her. And they'll get angry at that. And then they'll have that anger energy around them. So during the time when somebody passed, specifically the first 3 days, is their most important time to act, our most important time to give, because the more calm you can be for those 3 days, and you can then go into your deep grieving later, but specifically those 3 days, the more calm you can be, the more at ease the spirit of the departed soul will be. And so what you can do is, say for instance, as soon as you hear the news, or you're in a position after you've heard the news of somebody passing, if you're in that position, light a candle. Just light a candle and just look into the flame of the candle. Take a few deep breaths. Calm your being and just call the name of the loved one. We'll just say the loved one's name is Mary, and you go, hi Mary, I know you're still around. I know that your spirit is very present, and I want you to know that I love you, I loved you, I will always love you. And, you know, if you want, you can do even traditional prayers. Like if you're Catholic, you could say, Our Father who art in heaven, or if, you know, Hail Mary, full of grace. Or if you're Tibetan, Om Mani Padme Hum. If you're Hindu, you could say, Om Bhuvas Vahatat Savatu Varinium, you know, Asitoma Sadgamaya. Whatever it is connects you to yourself, you to your God self, you to the God self of the being that's passed, and the realms they'll potentially go into. And so, all you need to do, as I say, you don't have to be an expert in the teachings. If you want to go and take initiation and training in them, of course you can do that the same way as I did, or on my website, and I'm sorry, this is not meant to be a promotion, but on my website, which you would have had to go to listen to this video anyway, I assume, on my website, you will find that I've did these real teachings, real teachings, many years ago, and there is a lot of information there already that might help you over your own grief and sorrows at the loss of the physical being of a loved one. And as I say, so, you know, just calm yourself down, be at peace. Whilst everybody else is losing their head, if you can hold your head together, great. If you can't, if you have to lose your head, lose your head. If you have to grieve, you know, deeply, do so. I'm not saying you shouldn't do a natural grieving process, because that's going to happen anyway. I'm saying if you want to pass a gift on to a loved one, I believe this is the greatest gift you can give them, specifically in these 3 days. So you can do that, you can say those prayers, you can keep as calm as possible. If you're immediately related to the loved one, it's going to be obviously much harder than if it's just a friend or somebody else who you haven't such an emotional attachment to. So even through the service, you know, when they're going, so you've said your prayers, you've kept it nice and calm, even at the service where the coffin is there or whatever, you know, talk to the being as if they were really there, and say, hey, you know what? I have calm energy, I have peaceful energy here. I'm praying for your soul to get to the highest heavens as possible, the highest bardo possible. they will come to you, I believe. Energetically, they'll see you as this brightest light in the group of people gathered. They will come to you and they will use some of your energy to project them onto their next experience or into their next life, if you believe in past lives and future lives. So that's really as simple as this is. This is not and has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with spirituality and energy and the understanding that, you know, one of the greatest times to face adversity is when it's happening. How many times have you had in your life where you've thought something was going to happen and it never actually did in the end? So let me just break it down into a couple of small steps. If you're using these teachings in preparation for your own passing, well then it would be really good for you to understand the 3 drivers, which is the middle of the wheel, and where they lead us to. And then our existence or our wheel of life from the very first picture of the old woman heading towards a cliff right up to being carried to the graveyard. And you can go deeper into that and prepare yourself for your own passing, because again, one thing I learned while I was taking the teachings was, you know, your thoughts when you're dying are going to determine a lot of where it is that you end up, whether it's a heavenly, a ghostly or a hell realm. So we want to die in grace and in peace as best we can and use those thoughts. So that'd be for yourself. If it's for somebody who is dying, well then the prayers with the candle, specific prayers, you know, if you can't visit them in a physical form, project yourself there as if you were there beside their bedside. Believe me, on some level they will register that you're there. That energy and that presence will be there for them. And just chat to them as you would, you know, imagining holding their hands. Obviously, if you're physically there and you're holding their hands, that may be an opportunity for you to see some of the signs that we speak about in the booklet, you know, like the earth element, where the thumb begins to travel in towards the center of the hand, the body getting shorter because the earth element is dropping, and so on and so forth. And that is an incredible thing to do for a being, to be there for them, and for you to see it for yourself and acknowledge it, so that when your time comes, you won't be as fearful of your own passing. So that would be that. And then it's the part where somebody has already departed. And as I say, that's when you can hold the energy, you can hold the light, you can hold the love, you can hold great compassion for the soul for 3 days. And, you know, at least, and then if you can and you're willing and you want to, you can then hold all that prayer, all that love, all that compassion, all that calm, all that energy for 49 days of earth years, which they say is equivalent to the time that it takes a soul to actually arrive at whatever level or destiny it is that they are going on to, whether that's a heavenly realm, an angelic realm, whatever realm it is. So what a great service that you can do. You can't get it wrong as long as you're obviously praying in a calm and peaceful way. It's not a great time to be angry, but if you have to get angry, you have to get angry. But, you know, do that service. It'll be the greatest service that you've given to yourself, to your loved ones, and to the world, because it is, I'm sure, for a lot of people, the most frightening time when they, you know, face their own annihilation, because they believe that they're being annihilated. Whilst again, I talk about the Bhagavad Gita, where in that they say, you know, you were never born, you never die, all as you are is energy, you travel from one shape to the next shape. Again, I'm not here to challenge anyone's religion or belief. I'm just saying what's there. If it's helpful, If it's loving, if it's compassionate, use it. If it's not, hey, what have you lost? 15, 20 minutes of your time listening to this or reading the booklet. In the meantime, I do hope that you spend some time losing your fear of death so that you can actually live. Because I believe one of the greatest fears on the planet is the fear of annihilation, the fear of being forgotten, the fear of all of this, of death. But if you conquer it, guess what? You begin to live again. And even when shite and crap is hitting your world, you can sort of get through it much more easily and much more lovingly. Thank you for taking the time to read the booklet and look at this presentation. As I say, if you can do this service for people, please do so. I wish you nothing but love and compassion. And I know that we are all connected as one. We're all energy. And when it comes your time to leave this form and go into another form, I wish you well on your journey. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get across the line peacefully, and that your loved ones, when they come to collect you, are smiling because they've already got it. They already have been there. They know what it's about and will guide you through. God bless you and keep you safe, and may all the beings in all the worlds be happy. Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, as they would say in India. God bless. Bye.